You want another comic review? You get another comic review. Hold on to your potatoes, because today I've got a roll of quarters and people to kill. It's Scud, the Disposable Assassin, that 90s comic from Fireman Press and more recently Image Comics. Oh, it's only 1D, huh? Normally in these situations, fair viewers, I would take it upon myself to read this entire massive beast of a book before committing to do any reviews of such material which I know nothing about. But not this time. You and I are gonna go through this, and we will be surprised together on this trip. And by trip, I mean first issue. And by first issue, I mean I actually read the first 3. But you only get the first one. I was first properly introduced to Rob Schraub through my friend Fat Game Boy when he showed me the Schraub short, well, that's a lot of tongue twisting, Robot Bastard. I love it. It reminds me of the stuff that I would have seen on MTV's Liquid Television back in the day. Or Adult Swim to some of you younger viewers. Is Adult Swim even on anymore? Jesus, how old am I? Link in the description below. Go check it out later. It feels like I have to qualify on this channel so often. I don't know what Rob's personal opinions are. I don't know if he's one of those types of comic professionals that's so common these days that talk trash about fans, or people on Twitter that don't agree with them politically. God, I'm so sick of politics. But I think I said it in a previous video. I don't like Mark Waid, but as far as reviewing 90s content, we try to separate art and artist. So anyway, good or bad, I hope Rob is a cool guy, because I enjoy his short movie and his comics. Moving on! Scud is a character that has been on the fringes of my awareness for years. I've seen him around for as long as I can remember, looking like a 90s Saturday morning cartoon character with his yellow and red color scheme. Something about it gives me the impression of shows like Project Geeker. Actually, it really makes me think of C-3PX from the Dark Horse Droids comics, and I'm seriously wondering if someone at Dark Horse or Lucasfilm was reading the Scud comics as they were coming out at the same time. Maybe just a coincidence. When I first sat down to read the other night, I didn't make it much further than the introduction written by Rob's other half, and I immediately felt worthless and lazy and decided that I should be working on my own sci-fi comic, Smacked in the Head, the animated series, hopefully crowdfunding soon. The intro talks about the lonely existence of the comic artist, the days that pass by as you're slumped over a piece of paper, the hour or two spent wherever you can find time to work on your project, after work for 2 hours, before work for an hour. In my case, all of that on top of doing silly YouTube videos while trying to build an audience that might actually be interested in a cartoony sci-fi comic called Smacked in the Head, the animated series, hopefully crowdfunding soon. I made my wife read it and she started crying, saying, "That's you." I digress. I made a second attempt shortly later and actually made it through. Rejoice, viewer!
Here we go again.
What's crazy is I heard this voice in my head immediately when I started reading Scud's dialogue. Kinda like Tom from Toonami.
So here's the deal. Life...
Does anyone remember Toonami? How old am I? I didn't really watch that stuff, but still. Here's our list of comic slaves for this collection. Scud number 1, frame 1, starts off with a list of expenses based off 23 members of a company's labor force being terminated. Terminated, not terminated. And this lowly employee is updating a character called Mr. Spider God. Immediately makes me think of the oily monster guys from Robot Bastard. I love the tentacles in the background slowly surrounding this lowly employee. The fact that Marvin's Mannequins is losing money and people is unacceptable. Mr. Spider-God, what do you expect me to do? Mr. Spider-God offers a not-so-veiled threat. Someone better get rid of that monster, I'll send you down there, capiche? Soon. Our lowly employee, who I don't believe ever actually gets a name, so I'll continue to refer to him as lowly employee, comes across a Scud machine and pumps in 3 francs. And hits the button. Luckily, Scud does not get stuck like my Twix bar the other day, nor does he have to shake and bang on the machine till security asks me to leave. Or I mean him. Scud comes online and asks, "Who's the job?" All the information you need is on this disc. It also includes a map of the factory, weapons locales, and proper contempt levels. Scud opens his hand, and I hope that in this future they've perfected anti-skip technology. Contempt levels also amuses me. How much should you hate this total stranger as you're blowing a hole in their head? Soon. Again.
Yippee too, brother trucker.
Scud moves into the factory, quickly finds the monster's trail, and aftermath. Ugh. Blubbery tentacles reach up, but Scud's no slouch as he spins around and blasts the creature's silhouette.
That was easy.
Here's our first look at this monstrosity. Wiggly fingers stretch out from the monster's feet? And what the f? Two mouths open up at the knees. Just like eating death on a cracker. What the hell does that mean? Look at this gun slap. It's so simple and great. I usually kill myself trying to work action into a dynamic scene, and as it turns out, sometimes it's okay to just do a long shot, side-scroller video game type view and have the action happen there. Okay, let's take a moment. We got a monster, hands for feet, knees with mouths, an electrical plug for a head, a tiger-striped Calvin and Hobbes body, mousetrap / cat paw glove hands, and a squid body belted onto it. Okay, I think that covers everything. The monster rears up and bashes its head into the wall repeatedly, trying to destroy our hero. 6, 7, go to hell, go to heaven. At times when I read the knee dialogue, I picture Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Feed me, Carbon! Feed me now!
Or Mother Brain from Captain N. Does anyone have any idea what I'm talking about? Mousetrap, cat claw, snap out. Look at this flow of action. In animation terms, we've got squash and stretch. A weapons case is knocked loose and Scud starts blasting away again. In a last-ditch effort, the squid lets loose with a squirt of ink. Space cadet. Space dust. Ha ha. More than a few times reading this comic, I've had to stop and ask myself, what? I love this line. Oh, it's a play on this Greek phrase. Oh, it's actually a reference to Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Sheesh.
Drink deep, or taste not the plasma spring. See what I'm saying?
No, Jeff, no. But it's okay. Kinda. Sorta. I guess. Moving on! By the end, I realized most of the dialogue is just one big reference to various movies. Gee, this one had layers to it. Point of view perspective, as Scud wipes the ink from his eyes. Glorious!
Huh? Where'd it go?
It's thoroughly amusing to me that to show him searching for the monster again, Rob basically used a walk cycle reference from animation.
Eggs? Eggs?
It cuts back and forth here between the monster off somewhere else and Scud as he starts blowing the little suckers into omelets. Then you get a quote from the Penguin in Batman Returns.
They wouldn't put me on a pedestal, so I'm laying them on a slab!
This actually makes me wonder if when Rob writes this stuff, in his head the characters are actually talking in their own voices, or if they sound exactly like the movies that are being quoted. Here the character would talk like Danny DeVito. Earlier the character would talk just like Jeff Goldblum. Just previously, they'd talk like an old C&C. Scud blasts his way out of a jam again as the creature tears off, out on the factory floor. It's an ambush!
There can be only one!
Scud catches a deer to the back, quickly throwing a sidekick. He pings the monster to the wall, blasting its arm off. Another money shot to the eyes, and the creature tears off again.
Space Ghost!
Look at that! So much fun. Kinda makes me think of Mad Magazine back in the day. More specifically, the Spy vs. Spy comics.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Meanwhile, Scud is cleaning himself up when he notices something funny printed on his back.
Attention! Scud Disposable Robot Assassin. Heartbreaker Series 1373. This unit will self-destruct upon termination of target. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Scud bursts from the John, making a mad dash for the exit, when suddenly... Unfortunately, I couldn't find a sound clip from Ren and Stimpy for this "Oh, Ren" reference, so here's one of my favorite shots from that show instead. Scud is whacked across the room by the monster's backhoe shovel arm, and we get another progression of movement as the knee-mouth scream more insanely than this audio clip is really going to convey. Sorry.
Now, young Skywalker, you will die.
Scud then starts loading his fingers into the chambers of his gun.
This unit will self-destruct upon termination of target. Thank you.
Scud blasts the creature's limbs off one by one. Thus, down he puts his weapon away. I love that he keeps it under his arm like a 70s cop show. Strolling over to the wall, Scud throws down a ruble? He's still missing fingers. Nice. Placing a call and thus confirming this is an alternate universe where payphones still exist in the future, and I would argue, a better one. Later, At St. Larry's Hospital, this weird, terrifying-looking doctor is telling Scud that the monster is still alive and that the state will provide life support for 1 month, but after that, Scud is going to have to cover the costs. And that's it! The overall series is basically Scud's career as a gun for hire, working to pay off Jeff's medical bills. Yes, he names the limbless monstrosity in the tank Jeff. At the moment, I forget why. God, I really love the coloring on these covers. I really enjoyed this comic and the subsequent 2 that I read, which had a fun singing gun cartoon, absolutely related to the 7-Up spot, TV spot with Screeching Eagle. Scud on a motorcycle, which are always appreciated, and a cameo appearance by the Dark Lord himself, Darth Vader. Yuck, what is up with that guy? I adore the simplicity of some of the shots Rob has achieved in this story. Here, for example, is Scud in a kind of AC vent, getting ready to take aim at his next target. I really like this. I also really like this shot. And this dog stomp made me laugh out loud. Also, there's a moment where Scud is shot through the CD reader hand and he goes absolutely insane for a while. The contempt levels are absolutely off the charts. I feel like this might become a fairly regular thing for the character in the future. I could be wrong, but I never saw an ad for Scud where he either didn't look normal or had a smile scrolled across his face in dog's blood. We'll see. Scud is definitely a lot of fun. This is the kind of thing I read in the morning and it makes me absolutely pumped to make comics. And then I have to go to work. I highly recommend you guys pick it up, that is if you can find it. From what I understand, it's pretty hard to come by. I've seen some for about cover price on eBay, so maybe start there. So what can I take away from this comic to apply to my own comics? Pacing and action! I love the long shots from the side that show you a fairly long series of movements across 1 or 2 panels. Whether it's a gun getting slapped out of Scud's hand and coming towards the reader, or even in issue 2 when he, elbow bumps a can of nerve gas into the next room, everything is done so fluidly. A lot of fun. Finding a balance between fun action / movement and storytelling, you can never go wrong. Alright guys, that's it. If you want to check out snippets from my own cartoony sci-fi comic series Smacked in the Head the Animated Series, hopefully crowdfunding soon, there's a link in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.
Take 2!